Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to participate this morning. Right now, everyone is logging in to the event, and we will wait another 2 minutes until everyone is admitted to the session. Here with me is already Jarosław Granat from Future Processing, who will let us know more about the insights of an IT service provider later on. Good morning, Jarosław.
Hello, good morning, Patricia. Thank you for hosting that and for the warm introduction.
How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. However, the weather in Poland is not very, promising. It's a little bit dull and it's raining, so cannot wait for the summer to be back. But I'm fine.
I think everyone feels the same at the moment. But I sent you some sun here from Munich because since a few days we have very nice weather. So it's a good autumn and to prepare for the winter. Okay, we speak soon. Okay, I think we're almost there now. I see there are still guests logging in. So we'll have one last minute before we start over with the event and the discussion of today. If you want to take a glass of water or grab a coffee, now is the time. We will start over in roughly 1 minute. And to everyone who just logged in, hello and good morning. And thank you so much for taking the time for our event this morning. A few words about your microphones. They should be on mute. All your phone and laptop sounds should be switched off. And if you experience any technical issues we can solve, please let me know via chat. All right, I think we're good to go. Everyone should be admitted to the session. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you for waiting. Everyone should now be admitted to the event session. But before we kick off, just a reminder that your microphones should be on mute until you're invited to the discussion. I'll say a little bit more about our house rules later on. Welcome to the virtual event. How can the process of collaboration with an IT provider look like? I am Patricia Moska from the Executive Events and will be your event moderator for this morning. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting a group of guests from a broad range of industries, together with our invited speaker from Future Processing, Jarosław Granat, Head of Client Engagement at Future Processing. Hello again, Jarosław. And I'm sure
hello again.
You're excited to our audience and their insights they hopefully share with us later on.
Yes, I cannot wait for that, and I'm really happy to see more and more people coming in and logging in. So ready to start.
Thank you. Before we start, just a note to our audience that this event is recorded. Sorry, and your participation is anonymous. Please feel free to use the Q&A module to pose any questions to Jarosław during his presentation, and we will address all your questions at the very end. I give you a few words on our house rules right now, and they'll be posted simultaneously on the chat. Please ensure all phone and laptop sounds are switched off. Your microphone is on mute until the moderator selects you to participate in the discussion. And if you would like to contribute to the discussion, click on the participant icon and select raise hands, which will alert me to that you would like to make a point. And then I can unmute your microphone and you can participate. If there are any connectivity issues we can solve, please let me know also via the chat. Okay. During this virtual session, we will get a closer look at how organizations can face obstacles like IT skills shortage, the need for IT cost optimization, or lack of expertise in given technology, or a sudden need to introduce a new tech solution. Maybe your organization resonates with this challenge while asking yourself one of the following questions. How to start your IT outsourcing journey? how can the process of cooperation with an IT service supplier look? And how to guarantee your business efficiency and profitability while doing your outsourcing project? Jarosław, can you help answer us these questions?
That is the intention for today's webinar and my presentation, and then later a Q&A session. And I'm pretty sure I will be able to answer those questions and any other that may arise during this webinar. So please feel free to ask some questions on the chat window, or then in the end during Q&A session.
Yeah. So as Jarosław just mentioned, please have your chat open. There will be some interaction already at the very beginning with Jarosław. And with these words, I hand over, and the stage is yours, Jarosław.
Thank you very much, Patricia, and thank you very much for your kind introduction and the warm welcome. And I'd also like to welcome all the guests today. Thank you for your time and that you are here today. And I do hope that you will find this webinar and these tips and tricks I'm gonna share with you today valuable, and you will make use of them in your daily work. Let me start with sharing my presentation for today, and you should just be seeing that. And yes, the title of today's webinar and the intention of the webinar is to say how can the process of collaboration with an IT service provider look like. And during this next couple of minutes, or rather more than half an hour, I'll try to concentrate on several aspects. One of them being how to start, then about the process itself, and then how to guarantee the success. During this webinar, there will be a short interaction just right now in the beginning, and the QA session in the end, just like Patricia said. So let's move on then. The first thing to start with is the number of challenges that companies nowadays might be facing in terms of the need for IT services. And based on the discussions with clients I work with, and we have an experience in our company, and the voices that we hear on the market, I've gathered some most common ones, reasons or challenges that companies are facing, which are the reasons to deciding about outsourcing. First of them, IT skills shortage. And I think that it might be one of the things that is very popular amongst your companies as well. This is what we deal quite often recently at least in Europe, but also in other places in the world. So this is something that is visible, I would say, everywhere. Cost optimization. There might be some companies who think or that realizing a project, moving a project forward with an external partner may result in some cost optimization and benefits. So that might be the decision driven by this factor to outsource. Lack of expertise. That is kind of interesting one. Maybe there is a good idea in the company. Maybe there is a nice plan of another project or process or IT solution that may help the company to realize their strategy, but there is not enough expertise of how to do it properly. Maybe there are even some IT resources in the company, but not skilled enough or without proper competencies to move the particular project forward. And that might be one of the reasons why companies decide to outsource. Need to innovate might be quite similar to that, especially today's in a high competition in the world. There may be a need to innovate to be ahead of competition and coming up with some bright ideas for projects that may result in some good results. And that might be the reason also to look for a partner who help to realize that vision. Rescue mission, kind of interesting one. I personally did have an opportunity to work in some kind of projects of this size and matter. The idea is here that the company might suffer from a project that is not going very well for a number of reasons. Maybe one of the reasons is that the previous supplier is not doing their job properly. Maybe some decisions were made wrong in the beginning, and the company at some point realizes that it would be worth to engage with another supplier to help and to put the project back on track. Legacy modernization, there is a number of technologies, frameworks, and IT applications that needs support, and this support is coming to an end by the manufacturers. That might be one of the reasons that companies decide to look for an outsourcing partner to modernize the existing software. The other reasons might be connected to the lack of people in the market that are capable of maintaining the software, because it's simply saying outdated. And I'd like to take this opportunity to understand where you are in your companies. What challenges do you see most often? And I do understand that some of them might be connected to each other. Maybe there are some combinations of them, or maybe there's something other reasons as well. So if I can kindly ask you to write on the chat window which of those challenges are the closest to you, so that we'll have a little bit of understanding where we are as a group. And based on that, I will also try to tailor the rest of the presentation to that particular answer. So if you could just kindly go to the chat window and put a number, what do you think is the most common challenge or reason to outsource in your companies? Okay, thank you very much. I'm starting to see some examples. I can see a lack of expertise. I can see small teams, which might be connected to IT skills shortage as well. Thank you. Yeah, the lack of expertise and missing some people might be one of the most common reasons. Budget I see as well, which reflects and is connected to cost optimization, I guess, as well, really important. And I do also see those things in my daily work as well. All right, do we have any other ideas, challenges that you observe? Okay, then lack of expertise, small teams, budgets, challenge with relocation of people. That's a very interesting one, especially with the pandemic. All right. Okay, thank you very much for participating in that, and that gives me a little bit of understanding where you are as a group, and I think it's a good foundation for the rest of the presentation. Few words about myself so that you know a little bit more about me, and whether it would be worth to add me on your LinkedIn account. Jarosław Granat, about 13 years in IT software services, and I got no idea when it passed, because it seems like I just started. One thing that it might be quite unusual, all those 13 years are in the same company, the future processing company, which is might be a little bit surprising, but for me it's a really great adventure. I'm thankful for, because when I started the company it was about like 50 people or something, a really small startup, and nowadays it's a 1,000 people size company who provides IT software services for clients all over the world, and provides all the end-to-end software services. I did have an experience in both technical, managerial, and business areas during this time, and it might be very well connected to my educational background, as I studied computer science in one of the Polish best tech universities. Then I quickly moved to postgraduate studies about the psychology in business, and also some studies in B2B business and B2B sales and marketing. And I think it gives me the nice holistic view of what's inside the today's IT business world. Currently, in future processing, I'm responsible for managing a client's portfolio. It's over 70 clients right now, and obviously I'm doing that together with my bright team, and the clients we are dealing with currently bring us about 50 million euro of annual revenue. So that's where we are, and I hope this gives you a little bit of understanding where I am. So let's move on. What we'll touch today, a little bit of agenda for the main part of the presentation, how the process of collaboration can look like. I'll start with the IT outsourcing lifecycle to give you a little bit of idea how the process looks, what are the proper steps and what to take care of. And I think it will be also a good moment to tell what parts of the process we'll cover today and what parts of the process I will be able to give you some materials in the end. I'll start with the model of cooperation, which in my opinion is the most important thing, and I will shortly let you know why. Then we'll move to setup checklist, so what to do in the beginning of cooperation, and then going to an ongoing day-to-day business, what to monitor and why. And if you stay till the end, I will shortly describe some bonus materials I have prepared for you, which will answer to the question how to select an IT partner that matches your need. So starting with the IT outsourcing lifecycle. There is I've prepared a chart and which shows a typical process consisting of quite a few steps when we are talking about IT outsourcing lifecycle. It usually starts with deciding to outsource, and there may be plenty of reasons. We just go through a sample of them, and you put your ideas in the chat window as well. And why this is important? Because the idea, the reason that brings you to the decision about outsourcing has a huge influence of the model and the strategy towards how to engage with an IT outsourcing partner. I'll shortly move to choosing a proper model of cooperation, which is a foundation for the proper next steps. And usually, if it's done okay, it can result in a proper cooperation afterwards. If it's done badly, it's a sign of upcoming issues. The next step is selecting an IT supplier, and it usually, especially if we are talking about longer processes for larger companies, consist of RFI and RFP phase and evaluation. And this will be not the scope of today's webinar. It could be easily a separate thing or maybe a set of webinars. However, just like I said, I have prepared some materials for you which will help you to assess and prepare some documents to send to potential companies you would like to work with, so that you do not have to do it on your own, and you will be able to understand the differences between companies. Contract procurement, so preparing a contract and negotiations, very important step and may take a lot of time as well. And finally, implementation, so the project kickoff and monitoring and controlling. So these are the two areas we'll talk about today as well. So how to choose model of cooperation? And let me start with a diagram which shows different models of how an IT supplier, IT vendor may offer some services to you. If you look at the top of the screen, there is some arrows and indication of client and associate partner, and it is a reflection of where the work or the responsibility is put and where is more engagement is needed. So starting with the left side column, we have staff augmentation, and that is usually a situation when the company needs particular people, usually just a small number of people with these certain skills to fill up some gaps that they may have during their ongoing projects. And usually just just a matter of finding a proper person that fits the given set of skills. Then if we move gradually towards the right, we are talking about some additional value that the IT supplier can provide. So starting with a dedicated team, we now talk about a group of people and engineers that may help in the project that you are working with. And what was interesting is happening when we start to talk about agile team, because this might be the same group of people, but they are equipped with some processes around how they work. So it's not just a number of people, skilled engineers, but a group of people which follows some principles, rules, and it's all embedded in a process which gives you an additional value of understanding what's probable, what's not probable, and that your project is more under control. If we go on the right hand side of this graph, we can talk about managed software projects. So the situation when we talk more about some costs and potential outcomes and scopes. So it's more connected to project management. And finally, finishing with some analysis and complete business solution when the outsourcing partner is responsible for the end-to-end solution and delivery of all stuff. And there is a lot of text here, so you'll have that presentation, and you can go through the details. And I think it is very important to understand that what is the ultimate need that exists in your company. So for instance, if you have a very well established IT department equipped with the processes around that, and you just want a additional people because this is something that you're dealing with and you cannot find those people on the market, maybe the staff augmentation is all that you need. But if the IT department is not that mature and there is a IT project to be done, probably it would be worth to at least verify if some agile teams or managed software projects models when the IT solution provider can offer would be a better fit because of additional monitoring, because of additional information to you as stakeholders, because of well-established processes and the knowledge about how to run the processes and projects. And this also has a reflection of the scope of work. So for the staff augmentation, it's usually some individual tasks to be done. It's like I would say, contractor work only. And if you move forward to the right, it's more like a complex things, components, projects, or systems or programs. And why is that so important? Because what I've seen plenty of times is that when a client talks about their needs, they usually refer, we need some developers to help us. And this is a very broad statement and can mean also a staff augmentation because we got all processes in place and we just need some additional skills. But it can also mean we need some developers because we are in the beginning of a major project in our company and got no idea how to run that, and that is why we need developers. And depending on where we are on that scale, different skills, different approaches and responsibilities are needed. So therefore, I'll put a lot of a lot of focus on that area because I believe that it is something that is very important at the beginning to start with. All right, assuming that we've chosen the best model to work with IT supplier, we know why we chose that. It's time of kicking off and starting the cooperation itself. There's a number of things that are important in the early phase of cooperation, and I cannot start with anything else but the kickoff meeting and knowledge transfer. And I've noticed that it may be understood also very different by different companies or people. And for many people, it's understood, okay, let's make a kickoff meeting. So let's gather a developer, let's gather some developers from the supplier. We've got our stakeholder who will run the project, and they will talk, and everything will be fine. I would say that it is not enough. And the intention of a proper kickoff meeting and then the knowledge transfer is to engage as many people as possible, but obviously not for the sake of engaging, but for the building a common understanding of the business perspective. From my experience, what worked very well is when the top management of the companies or really key stakeholders when involved in that particular event in the beginning of cooperation, that gave the delivery team a proper momentum in the beginning and a good portion of motivation. And on the other hand, it gave the key stakeholders or top management on the client side understanding of how the supplier work, and it gave a little bit of the, besides all of the cultural things that matter in that particular moment as well. Obviously, the better if it's run face to face. However, these days there might be some troubles in that, and always look for the ways to do it face to face. If that's not possible, hopefully there is a number of tools that help to do it properly nowadays. Establishing communication management. What is connected with that, it refers to the previous point about the proper cooperation model, roles and responsibilities. So really important for the beginning of cooperation, which part, and by part I mean either the supplier or the client, will be responsible for that area or that process within the product development or an IT delivery. Who to involve, what will be the proper forums for discussions, and what will be the escalation paths. If the project is run in one of the well-known methodologies like Scrum, Agile, there is a certain forums and communication channels embedded in that process. But it is also worth to build structures up to have the possibility to involve some managers and key stakeholders as well. So very important to do that in the beginning and share it together with the client, or commonly think about it. Preparing schedules and plans, obviously important task for the beginning, and I think it's self-explanatory. And choosing collaboration tools, which I think are more important these days, especially for the communication. You can see the slides with plenty of people just doing some workshops and putting post-it notes on the screen, and this is the way that it results in really nice benefits, especially in the beginning of cooperation. And hopefully there are tools nowadays that helps to do it online, like Miro, for instance, and so that we can have a little bit of that creativity in the online world as well. Monitoring. So working with a remote team present certain challenges, I would say, at least initially. And what I've noticed is that plenty of major companies have a proper monitoring ideas, monitoring systems and processes in place. And I mean here also on the client side and the supplier side. If we work with a very well established major companies, they usually have a proper assessments, they have some balanced scorecards or suppliers assessment based on some key important measures that they come up with the company, which is something that really helps to assess the companies, the suppliers amongst themselves, and give the proper information to the supplier of where are the areas to improve. On the other side, if we are talking about well-established major IT suppliers, they usually come up with some ideas on their own, what to monitor, and share that with their clients. And I've listed some of most common areas to monitor, and time, cost and scope are usually something that is very connected to the project itself. And if the same case project is run in a methodology, well-established methodology, there is a certain number of measures and things how to measure things embedded in the particular methodology. But there are plenty of other things here as well. And what I would like to highlight here as well are the satisfaction and human resources indications or measures. And for the corporation, if you happen to have a proper communication with your IT supplier, it is good sometimes to ask them about that areas, or if they are measuring the, for instance, satisfaction of their people, satisfaction of their clients, and how you as a client are compared to other clients that the IT supplier work with. This can give you really nice indication of where maybe some issues to tackle. And with regards to the team, especially nowadays when we are all dealing with lack of proper people on the market, I think it is really important to understand what's in the head of people, and if they are properly motivated and they would like to stay in the project and in the company. So these are the areas to monitor. And I think that the plenty of programs that are based on some measurements in our clients also put a lot of focus on delivering up to clients' expectations. So if you are running a program in a company that should be aimed at giving some information to key stakeholders or decision makers about how to evaluate the suppliers, please make sure that you gather proper data from people who are involved in the projects with the supplier with regards to delivering up to expectations. What is the relationship? What is the impact of the IT supplier to the project, and all those additional soft measures of satisfaction, human resources as well. I do have prepared some bonus materials for you, how to select an IT partner that matches your need I mentioned earlier on, and I'll leave it to the end of the presentation. And I think that this is the proper time now to have a little bit discussion around that topic. I hope that you might have some additional questions with regards to the selection process, to the cooperation process with an IT provider. And yeah, I'll hand over to Patricia to run this QA session right now.
Thank you, Jarosław, and thank you as well for your presentation. I think this was a very comprehensive view about the collaboration with an IT service provider, and we're curious to see what questions came up during the discussion. Let me quickly check. So here's the first one. How can the process of cooperation with an IT service supplier look in detail?
Sorry, could you repeat, please, Patricia?
How can the process of cooperation with an IT service supplier look in detail?
Not sure where to start with answering that question. If there is any possibility to narrow that question, that will be very helpful.
Here are it's been narrowed down a bit more. What are the main success factors to select a great IT business partner?
I would say that the one thing that proves to be very important, and it's sometimes a little bit neglected, is the cultural fit, I would say. So I've seen that it is really important to have a really nice preparations and in the early beginning of the process, and it requires a lot of time and a lot of resources read, and a lot of discussions with potential partners, etc. What I observe is that there is a different level of understanding of IT services amongst the clients that we work with, and it's obviously natural. There are some certain clients who, for whom is the first attempt to outsource, and their knowledge is very limited, so they do not know where to start, who to talk to, and when to gather knowledge. So usually it starts with a little bit of desk research in the beginning, so about the direction where to outsource, because assuming that the company is located in Europe, I see plenty of our participants today from Europe. We can think about Europe itself, about Eastern Europe, about further directions like Asia, India, or something, and it's all connected to the company strategy needs as well. But after we are all those desk research and internet thing, etc. It's nothing more important than visiting companies itself, because it can actually give you the taste and understanding of that particular company. Because let's face it, if we look over the internet about on the web pages of potential IT suppliers, they are usually quite similar, I would say. And the only thing to verify that, to understand and to know some people, is to visit them. So this is why I would strongly encourage any company that looks for an IT partner to just book a proper time for some visits.
Okay, thank you. So there are two more. Maybe this one first. Is outsourcing the best way to construct an IT team? Certainly okay to quickly remediate shortage of people or skills, but is this the best path in the long run?
Very good question. Thank you for that. Let me give you some examples. As Future Processing, there is a number of clients that we've worked for more than 10 years, because it was their decision that majority of IT skills, IT resources, and IT knowledge would be placed in the hands of IT supplier, because
usually this decision is driven by the fact that the company would like to concentrate more on their core business, which IT is not, and that might be one of the routes or paths to follow. There are also different challenges when it comes to the decision whether to build a in-house team or whether to outsource that. And especially what we see today is that for some companies who do not have a proper background or publicity or some brand awareness in IT, and IT is not their business, it's really hard to attract talents from the market because we've got too little people on the market, and they usually, at least this is something what we see here in Poland, they usually would like to work for a company, IT company, that offers some possibilities to grow, to learn in various numbers of projects later on. So that might be one of the challenges that comes to my mind in the early beginning with regards to whether to build a team in-house or outsource it.
Okay. Yeah, truly. Thank you for that insight. I think there is one more. How can I guarantee my business efficiency and profitability while doing my outsourcing project?
First, let's start with the decision who will be responsible for measuring that. If we come back to this cooperation model, if we talk about these left-hand side models of cooperation, it says that the more responsibility is on the client as well. So therefore, the appropriate structures, people, project managers need to exist on the client side, and they need to understand what are the main areas and the main things to monitor, why, etc. It will be really important to engage with a company who can provide this type of data, because if we talk about budgetary things, about predictability as well, because it is one of the main things that may influence the budget itself. You need to have a proper data. So if a company is able, if an IT supplier is able to provide you some forecasts with regards to delivery, because this is the ultimate what we are talking about, it is a plus. This is usually something where why the projects are late, because they are not handled properly, and the scope of the project can grow very quickly and gradually. Yes. If you, Patricia, can repeat that question once again, because I would like to make sure that it's all covered. Because
how can I guarantee my business efficiency and profitability while doing my outsourcing project?
Yeah, I think that applying those measures around that would be necessary, and please do refer to IT supplier knowledge about that. So ask them, and I think that this is something what I found really important, and it does not happen very often. Usually, the IT suppliers they have plenty of experience in working with other clients, and this is the value that you can have from them. So please ask the questions to your supplier. How do you do it with other clients? Have you seen similar problem? What was your solution to that? With regards to those costs and measures, similar questions. How do you apply measures around similar things in your other clients, and what is the result? So can you suggest us the way that we should run this project? So please do ask question, and frankly speaking, it will be also a proper method of verifying how mature and competent your potential supplier is, because they should be able to give you some advice on where to put your focus on.
So really asking them questions and more questions, asking for best practices.
Yes, yes.
And really have them to deliver, so that one as a company has a safe feeling. Okay. Thank you. I think there's one more. Let me quickly see. Yeah. Organizations will always in the same way outsource workforce to fill some shortage of skills. We see also that the pandemic increased this demand, but I still think that there is a gap between budget and optimization. What's your opinion on that, Jarosław?
If I understood it correctly, that there is a pressure on the budget itself, despite the fact that there is a IT skills shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. This is something that I think many companies, and I see that many companies struggle with. One thing, and it is something, especially just like one of the participants wrote here, is more and more visible, especially after pandemic, is that there is a huge demand for IT services nowadays. It's even more than it was. It's way more than it was 2 years ago. And there is not enough people on the market, at least the European market. However, it is still a problem, big issue for the companies because projects might be late or might cost more, because what is a natural consequence of lack of people is the increased salaries in plenty of countries or regions. However, on the other side, there is this business world and contracts signed by the companies on a fixed price basis or something, and some things to be finished and done in a certain budget, which is a trouble. And what I observe now is that plenty of companies, IT suppliers, are looking for ways to optimize. And the one thing is that they are looking for people outside of their well-known markets. So assuming that we have a IT supplier based in the Central and Eastern Europe, more and more companies from this region are looking for people all over the world. And now it's really interesting, because the remote work actually increased that and helped that, because it's sometimes not a difference if you work with your colleague from the same town or with a partner from a different country if you work remotely. So more and more companies are looking for staff outside of their markets, and that might be one of the things that companies are trying to react to this IT skills shortage, while at the same time to be able to offer attractive rates and conditions to their clients. At least this is something what I have seen, and this is something also what we as a company are doing.
All right. So that's was very impressive, and I think there are no more questions. And are there any final thoughts or comments you want to give our audience, Jarosław?
Yes, my first one would be let's do a proper preparation. And I know that it is obvious, but for the IT projects that usually takes time and it costs a lot of money, the value of a proper preparation, of a proper model chosen is very important. This is why I put a lot of focus on that particular area. as I believe this is the way that, if it's done properly, it may bring plenty of benefits. The second thing is the proper kickoff and proper start of the project, and involving as many people as possible. And one thing that may be not that covered during my presentation today, however, I think it's really important. It's not only about measures, it's not only about fitting the proper procedures and guidelines, etc., because we are all people, and if we add a little bit of fun to that, a little bit of meetings, a little bit of nice culture around that, and be closer to each other, this actually helps a lot during the cooperation. And I've seen so many examples of really good friendships between us and clients because of that fact, and it results in a really good cooperation later on. So this is really important. The third thing I described a little bit during this QA session: ask your partner, ask your IT supplier. Do not afraid to ask questions. Do not afraid to use their experience and their knowledge. This is something that you are paying for, so why not to use it?
These are very very valuable insights. So repeated, it's all about the preparation. Put diligence in your preparation. Ask questions. Never forget to ask questions, like always in life. And then have a good kickoff. And last but not least, always have a little fun and be nice to each other. I think this is a very nice wrap up. Thank you to Jarosław again and Future Processing for this event. I also thank you, dear audience, very much for taking the time. You will get a thank you email shortly with the event recording and additional material, as well as the presentation from Jarosław, and the contact details of Jarosław as well. And please feel free to contact Jarosław anytime. And we would love to see you soon again in one of our online events, or hopefully it's possible soon in one of our face-to-face events. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.